he slept with 300 women or he's only slept with 2 women.
Oh, God.
One of them was a relationship, one of them was on one night
I
stand.
mean, you obviously want to go for the lower number, surely. But
I don't know, do you? You tell me. And it's not the first time I've heard this, actually, where girls will be like, oh, I don't tell a guy that I got cheated on so many times because he'll think, oh, well, she'll stay if I cheat.
It wouldn't necessarily mean that he'd go on to cheat, but allow himself to misbehave or like not treat her well, but just be another one.
I get you.
I don't know. There's different standards of...
I want everyone. I want them all.
I want everybody.
Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. I'm sitting in this spot, which means I've got a great conversation lined up for you today. You know, on this channel, we love to talk about all things dating, relationships, and seeing what we can do to attract the kind of person and relationship we want. So without further ado, please welcome back to the show, Amelia.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I mean, you were here a month ago and the first down went a treat. So we're like, let's make a part 2.
Let's go again.
Let's make a part 2.
Yeah.
So you know I love to jump straight in. So tell us your age and one thing a guy should know about you if he's going to take you on a date.
Oh my God. You asked me this last time. I had no idea what to think of.
I know. You should have known. Come prepared.
I should have come prepared. Right. So I'm 27.
Okay.
And it's something a guy should know about me is as I date more, I take less shit, I think. I know what more. I think the more you date, the more you figure out what you want. So I'm not here to waste time anymore.
Okay. So what does that mean, you taking less shit? Like what were you doing before that you're like, now I'm not doing?
I think when it comes to the early stages of dating, like whether you meet on an app or something like that and you start getting into the conversation, you can see their intentions or their efforts pretty early on.
Yep.
And I think they need to sort of have an idea that they're still trying to impress you. They're still trying to impress you. Don't just sort of like, if you want to be taking me out, show that there is an active interest in taking me out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just think, I could maybe just see her on a Thursday. I'm not doing anything. Show that your intentions are genuine sort of thing with me rather than sort of spending like taking 2 days to reply to me sort of thing. Just set up a date or just sort of keep the comms. Like you don't have to be texting me all the time, but just sort of keep it at a good level. And I think as well, when it comes to the date afterwards as well, show that you can sort of keep up with those sort of standards as well. Yeah.
How do you know, because I know what you mean in terms of keeping it at a good level, but what if your level is just like a higher frequency than his?
I don't think,
how would you know that?
I think it's the bare minimum. I think it's the bare minimum what I'm asking for really. I don't know whether that's because I've been fortunate enough that I've been surrounded by men in my life who have kept those. I've seen them keep their standards high. So then when I'm seeing my friends date their friends or date their other halves, or even within my own family, seeing the men and how they sort of treat women and stuff like that. For me, that's just the bare minimum. So maybe it is high standards to some people, but for me, I'd expect nothing less.
I think it's good to be like, oh, this is how you appreciate someone will show up from the relationships in your life, but I don't think we can expect that right from the gate.
No,
Do you know
not
what I mean?
from the get go. No. I'm probably just sort of generalizing like the long term.
Yes,
but so I guess in the beginning, so for instance, I went on a date with a guy a few months ago now, since we were on the pod. And had everything I thought of you in mind.
You're starting to work.
I'm learning.
She's learning.
But we set up the date and he's like, I'm going skiing for a week. I was like, okay, fine. Should we do it when I get back? Say, yeah, okay, cool. And he went skiing, that's fine. Then he came back from skiing. We spoke on the Sunday. I think we were going to go out on the following Friday. And he then messaged me saying, we're still good for Friday. I said, yes. And then I didn't hear from him until the Friday morning. Saying like,
how many days was that?
So 5.
And he went away skiing?
So say we matched whatever day. He then went skiing for a week.
Right.
Then when he came back from skiing on the Sunday afterwards.
Yes.
But we basically matched, and then 2 weeks later we were then going to go on the date. But we didn't have comms in between that. But that's fine with me. That's absolutely fine.
Cool.
But he said on Sunday, are we still good for Friday? I said, yep. And then on the Friday of the day of the date, he then said, should I pick somewhere or should you pick somewhere? And this was at like 11 a.m. So I would kind of think maybe Thursday evening, just saying like, hey, are we still good for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Let me see do you want to pick somewhere or shall I find somewhere to book or something like that?
Yeah.
It was then 11 a.m. of the day of the date. And I was a bit like, it's not
This was the first date.
First date. And it's just like, okay, if you're willing to sort of book me in 2 weeks in advance sort of thing. You must
Yeah.
have some kind of interest in me. But then
Yeah.
to then only message me at 11 a.m. of the day of the date.
Do you think he had less interest, or do you think he just didn't organize?
No, because when I met him, the way he kind of phrases, "Oh, I'm rarely ever on my phone. Like I've got so many group chats going off, and I never ever contribute to them." So I guess that's just the kind of guy he is. And to be fair, like, his chat did carry out throughout the date, but it was just the and his comms then did slip up afterwards as well. So
as in, like, what was it like?
Well,
after?
the date went well.
Yeah,
the date went really well.
Yeah.
And we had a lot in common. And we went to a few bars throughout it, had some really good food.
Nice.
I then went home and he said that he had an engagement drinks the following day in which he was going to have to drive like 2 hours.
His own engagement drinks.
No. Imagine.
It's like, do you want to come?
Well, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because he didn't speak. He told me, text me when you get home.
Right.
So I did, said, I've just got home. Thanks for a lovely night. The next day, he just liked the message. Didn't even say, thanks. Yeah, I had a good time too.
Okay.
So I was a bit like, it's a lack of comms again. I don't know if, whatever.
Okay.
We'll move past it. He goes to the engagement drinks. I was out that evening anyways. Next day on the Sunday at like maybe 4:30 or something, I then text him saying, how's the engagement drinks? Nothing.
Really?
Nothing. And it perplexed me because I was like, we were on the same date. We had a really good time. I thought we were really getting on. We had a lot in common.
Yeah.
So I came across something online,
Go on.
TikTok, and I want you to give your honest opinion on it.
Yep.
Is there ever a notion that if a guy is to suddenly ghost you, and you think things are going well and he just suddenly goes to you out of the blue, is there any truth in the notion that actually he's become overwhelmed with the idea that this could actually go somewhere, and rather than communicating it, he actually just drops off the face of the earth thinking, oh my God, she's great, da da da. Or am I just feeding my own delusion right now?
I love the awareness, Amelia. And I've seen that online too. And I'm going to be honest, it's all cope.
Okay, fine.
It's delusion. If a guy's like, wow, she's so amazing, I'm going to run from her. It just makes no sense.
Yeah.
I think it could be if he's not in a space where he's looking for something serious and he's just looking for something casual.
Yeah.
And then it's like, on the date, did you guys kiss?
Yes.
Did he ask you back to his?
So we were at a bar, a pub rather, and then the pub shut. He said, I live 10 minutes from there. Why don't we just walk back to mine? I'll get you a cab.
That's what he said to you?
Yes.
Sure.
And that's pretty much what happened.
Fine.
So we walked back to his, I saw his flat, and then within 20 minutes I left.
Okay, cool. Did he try it with you?
Not really. Like, we had a little kiss and that was it.
Oh, okay. So it can be that sometimes it can be that a guy is just looking for something casual and he's like, oh, you go on a date, you have a really nice time, but she's not a casual kind of girl, so I'm not going to waste my time. Sometimes guys do that, which in natural case, that's good for you.
Yep.
Because if that's the case, you don't want to waste your own time or
emotional
investment. Also, I just always say this. I always say that you always assume that they're open to dating other people because they probably are.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can happen where, and same when girls will go to guys.
Valid. Like I could have easily gone on a date like the following week, and
true.
And I would have been allowed to do that completely.
So true.
Completely within my right.
The ghosting is a bit harsh, but people
yeah,
do it,
it's the ghosting. So like, oh yeah, I just don't think we're on the same page about something. Just something simple like that.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Yeah, I think the whole notion of he was just so overwhelmed by his love for me that he just had to leave. I don't know where that comes from, because guys never think that. Guys never go, oh, well, she goes to me because she's so into me.
Yeah.
She's just terrified of her own emotions for me.
You'd be surprised at how many girls actually will go along that line of thinking.
Really?
Just so they can sleep well at night.
Oh yeah, of course. Like that's what I'm like. If I'm being honest,
I just overwhelmed him because I was just that nice.
Do you know what? Like, I was just so in love with you. I just had to never talk to you again. It was just too much. I think one thing. I think guys can. I think this does happen, or this can happen, depending where a guy is, what he's looking for, but also how he handles his own emotions.
Sure.
Where he's dating a girl and he thinks in his head, oh, cool, like this is just going to be something chilled, we're just going to have fun. And then he starts to fall for her and he's like, fuck, I don't like this. So he tries to ice her.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want because
he doesn't want to confront the conversation. Rather, he just ices her, and then she then makes the decision for them.
It's not even that. It's more that because the more he falls for you, the more power you have over him.
Oh yeah.
The more you can impact him, and for some guys that can be quite scary, especially when they were not intending it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen that happen where a guy she'll feel him like pull away a bit, right? And even be a bit like mean to her. And it's like, why is he doing that? And it's like, oh, it could be. And I think this is
to regain some control over the situation.
Over himself. Because he feels like, I really like this girl and I don't want to. I don't want to have feelings for this person.
Yeah.
So I've seen that, but he'll still entertain it casually because obviously he likes it, right?
Sure.
But that's the only time that I've seen it. But does that make sense?
Yeah.
Why would you say a girl would typically like ghost a guy? Let's say they've been on a few dates, it's going well, and then she just ghosts him.
I know I've been guilty of it, and it was only because I think it was just a matter of just not like they could be perfect package sort of thing, like good looking, good stable job, good personality, funny, whatever. And maybe it's just you just don't fancy them enough, and then you just. But the thing is, I have learned from that because I have because this was last year I did the ghosting, but basically I was just like, I don't want to give him that conversation where like, oh, it's not you, it's me, and it felt so lame. And all week I was trying to think about the best way to phrase it. And then in the end, I just never ended up sending the text. But I have corrected that behavior because I remember thinking, no, that was really poor from you. And because it happened recently where I was dating a guy. Nothing was wrong with him. Like, again, so
nothing was right with him. Nothing was wrong, but nothing was right.
No, it wasn't even that. It was just more that there was no retraction there for me. Like, It was one of those ones. I went on 2 dates with him, and each day I was just sort of like dreading going, like sitting there all dressed up, hair and makeup dolled up in my pajamas 5 minutes before I meant to leave, like being stubborn, like, I don't want to go. And then I was thinking to myself, well, if that was the attitude towards the first and the second date, I don't even know if I'd be able to do that for a third date. I said, okay, well, no, I think just cut it now. Because you're either leading him on thinking he's going to...
Did you not have any physical attraction towards him?
I could say he was a good looking guy, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, I really fancy him. Like, I was really excited about the date sort of thing.
No, Amelia.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my one question. Did you feel more attraction to him after the second date than the first date?
No.
Like, there was no... And when I say attraction, I don't mean like physically. I mean as in like, were you like more fond of him? Because you'd got to know a bit more.
I remember sitting across and thinking like, oh, you seem like a really good guy, but I can't imagine bringing you home to my family or to meet my friends and stuff like that because I don't have that, like, I'm really crazy about this guy sort of thing. And then there was not an incident. No, that's the wrong word.
Okay.
Basically, we went on the second date and I was going to stay at his house, but I actually ended up leaving at 6 a.m. because I was like, I need to go back to my own bed, basically, because I feel like if you're going to start dating someone and you're naturally going to go to their house, that bed could potentially become your second home where you want to feel comfortable. You want to feel like you can fall asleep here, you feel relaxed, you feel safe in it. And there was like almost this gut instinct where I was like, I don't feel comfortable. I couldn't fall asleep at all.
Right.
I was awake all night and I was just like, I just don't feel like this could be my bed sort of thing. And it was like, and it was funny because I was texting my friend who lives in Australia, who's obviously awake. I said, like, would it be really weird if I left at 6 a.m. right now? She goes, no, go home. If you want your bed and you want to go home and you feel comfortable in your own bed, go home.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then unfortunately that was the last time I saw him.
Did you pinpoint why you felt that way?
No, it was just like a gut thing where we weren't that drunk. I was tired, so I should have fallen asleep, but I just could not fall asleep.
Interesting.
And it was just I don't know, it's a fight or flight feeling sort of thing where...
Oh, wow.
Well, it was maybe not that, no, it's a bit extreme. But it was just, I feel like, yeah, I think you should, that if you want to feel comfortable and safe someone, there is sometimes you just got to lead with your instincts on that one.
I actually agree with you. And I think it was good for you to follow your gut in that instinct. Yeah. I was just wondering, was there anything that...
But then after that, well, then I then thought after that, because that was the second day, I said, well, if I was expected to stay at his on the second date, he may have an expectation that if we went on the third date, the same thing would happen again.
Sure.
But I would then be looking for excuses then, oh, I don't want to stay. And then what kind of, that is not a very good start to a relationship if you're then avoiding going to stay at his sort of thing. So I was like, this is not going to work.
Yeah, I hear that. I think definitely in that scenario, I think I would definitely agree with you. Though I don't think you should look for that, oh, I'm crazy about him within the first few days.
In the first few dates?
I don't think you should.
No.
Because even if you've had that before, that spark that people are like, oh, I'm looking for that.
Yeah, I know.
Right? It's usually just chemistry, man.
Yeah.
And thing is, I remember seeing this on, whose podcast? This was Chris Williamson's podcast. He had, I think, someone the head of Hinge, I think maybe. But some people are just very sparky.
Yeah.
As in like, there are just some people who are just really great at, when I say having chemistry with others, building sexual tension.
Yeah.
Right? And so we think, oh my gosh, it's because we are a perfect match for each other. We have this chemistry, right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's some people you meet and it's just like, fuck. Like, it's just who we are, right? But there are also some people, and a lot of, I say very attractive, maybe player type guys, where they're very good at building sexual tension with different women, right? But I think that looking for that spark in the first couple of dates, I think is not going to serve you.
Also, I completely agree because I know that as well from experience. Having that first spark where you think, oh my God, this is great, tends to go in the shitter a few weeks later because it ends up being, whether it's toxic or just a really lustful feeling.
Yes.
Particularly from their behalf, mostly with guys I've dated. Because I've had it before where I actually dated a guy who was my boyfriend, and it was like we thought we had amazing chemistry at the beginning of the first date. We're like, oh my God, this is great. He asked to go exclusive with me a week later.
Wow.
It was moving so fast and I was thinking, oh my God, this is it. And it ended up being the most toxic relationship of my life.
Damn. Yeah.
So I now know, definitely don't fall into that trap anymore. Like you've got to keep your wits about you, at least for the first few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's just more, I think if you meet someone and there's that instant kind of, even if it is like a chemistry, physical thing, I think that's great. I don't think that's a bad thing. But I think we have to be careful because we can make that judgment of, oh my gosh, this is the person for me.
Yeah.
But then we have to just remind ourselves, I don't know this person yet. Like I genuinely don't know who this person is. We have great physical chemistry. Cool. That's a biological thing. But on a mental, emotional, spiritual level even, I don't know who this person is.
So that brings me to my next 2 questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So when it comes to dating and say you are actually getting serious about a guy.
Yeah.
What are the conversations that you should have on that, either a first date and the conversations you should avoid? And then with that, how long into dating them should you then start be talking about your past, like your past relationships? Because I'm kind of in the position now, since learning from my previous relationships, they have no right to know about my dating history early on. Like I think almost say you've been hurt by a guy in the past, I think that can expose you to vulnerability, to weakness almost to them. Whereas say, for instance, you've been cheated on twice and then you mention it in the first day, like, oh yeah, I've been cheated on twice. I think for them that they can they might use it as a card later down the line. Not all men will, but...
When you say use as a card, what do you mean?
In the sense that, let's see if I can get this right. I think if you kind of sort of paint yourself as someone who can be vulnerable to getting exploited, it then could then give them a reason to then mistreat you later down the line because, oh, it's happened to her before. Oh,
as in, so if you said that I've been cheated on,
yeah,
that he'll think, oh, well, okay, well, she's been cheated on, so if I cheat, she can handle it.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So firstly, like, what are the conversations I think to sort of start dating well? So in terms of what are the key conversations that you should be having on the first date or conversations you should be avoiding? And say you did start seeing that person for a few weeks, at which point do you think, I mean, obviously every relationship's different. At which point do you think it's then the best place to then start delving into, oh, okay, well, this is what happened in my last relationship or blah, 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 blah.
Sure. Okay. Fair question. So what I would say this, let's address the whole thing. Let's use that cheating example.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not the first time I've heard this actually, where girls would be like, oh, I don't tell a guy that I got cheated on so many times because he'll think, oh, well, she'll stay if I cheat. Right?
Yeah. It wouldn't necessarily mean that he'd go on to cheat, but he can then sort of allow himself to misbehave or like not treat her well because, oh, okay, well, she's dealt with this in the past, so I could just be another one.
I get you. So it's more about sharing it isn't the problem. It's more about showing what you learned from it. So for example, if you say to a guy like, yeah, you know, my ex-boyfriend, you know, cheated on me more than once, you know, and what I learned from that is I learned to walk away after the first time.
Yeah.
He'll go, okay, cool. I know if I cheated her, she's gone.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you express something of like like you said, like maybe a vulnerability or something you've experienced badly in the past, when you say this is what I've learned from it, especially when you're saying, well,
rather than just saying, oh, guys cheat on me all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. If you go, okay, well, this is what I learned from it. This is how I grew. And now this is my standard towards it. You're making it very clear in terms of, okay, cool. Well, he knows if this is a thing, then he's not going to be able to, that's not going to fly with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of conversations to have on the first date, I always want to try and, I think it's more about looking at their values as opposed to like, are you looking for something serious? Where do you want to live? Blah, 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 blah. I think it's more about, are they in alignment with the values that you have? So for example, you might say something like, okay, let's say you are someone who you really like, I'm trying to think. Let's say, for example, like marriage is important to you.
Yeah.
Right? You just be like, oh, you know, would you ever consider getting married? You know, like, or are your parents married?
Is that a bit much for a first date, though?
Well, it could. Well, I think if
you just put my cards down, do you want to get married?
So I think it's like, I think if you're going, hey, do you want to get married? That can seem like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But I think an indirect way of doing it is just like, you know, oh, like I see my
married.
Like, you know, what do you think about rings and diamonds? What do you think about and signing contracts, tying our lives forever? What do you just describe everything, but don't say the marriage word? Just a passing thought. I think if you say, for example, okay, like you go, oh, you know, like my uncle and auntie, they've been married for like 20 years, and you know, that's just something I find really inspiring.
Yeah.
And see what he says to that.
Yeah. Okay.
If he's like, oh wow, yeah, no, that's definitely something that, you know, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe I'd love to have that too. Or if he's like, oh yeah, fair, but I mean, you know, I couldn't see myself doing that. Yeah. Then you just know that your values aren't aligned.
Sure.
Does that make sense? So I think it's more about, you know, it's more about seeing what kind of values he has and if they're in alignment with yours. And in terms of timing to share like vulnerabilities, I don't think there's any, I think that's when you feel comfortable.
Yeah. I
think it's really when you feel comfortable, because naturally there'll be some things you'll be quite open about to share on the first date. And there's some things that you're like, I kind of need to get to know you before I share that something quite personal with me. But I don't think ever sharing vulnerability is a problem. But I think if it's to do with like an experience with an ex, I think saying how you've learned and grown from that really demonstrates the kind of person you are now, that he goes, okay, I know I'm dealing with this kind of person. Does that make sense? Yeah. Have you ever had guys say something on a first date that felt a lot of pressure for you?
I don't think so.
The other guys be like, so how many kids do you want?
I mean, I think you sometimes do get guys caught up in the moment of it all. They'll say things. It's like, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? Do girls like that?
Well, I know from experience, no. It's not good.
Okay. Like what?
Well, they'll say it in like a jokey way. Well, I don't know. It happened recently where we were like talking, whatever, and then he just kind of like mumbles under his breath. He's like, I love you. I was like, what?
Whoa.
I was like, what? And he goes, what? But he was joking. Sure. But I just know, I was like, oh, shut up, sort of thing.
Oh, that sounds really cute.
Yeah, but really he doesn't.
Was that that wasn't the first date?
Yeah. Well, it was the first time I met him. That was the first time I met him, where we were like talking, really getting on. He's like, God, I think I love you. And I was like, no, shush.
Oh, is that a turn off?
Because they don't mean it. They're just saying
Is it because you think he doesn't mean it, or because
he doesn't mean it? He does not mean it from one conversation for talking to. I think I'm all right, but I'm not 20 minutes fall in love with me.
I mean, I'm pretty amazing, but I'm not perfect. Like,
I'm not really great. But
do you know what's so funny? Because like, have you ever seen Les Mis?
Yes.
So you know the story. I don't know if you remember. You know the story between Marius and Cosette, right? Like he sees her in the street.
Yeah.
Right. So he follows her home writes a love note, leaves it on the gates for her.
That wouldn't work in 2025.
Would not. And that's the thing. And this is where so many men are misled by you women.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. Okay? I have to be honest. Because guys will be watching that. And girls will be watching and be like, oh my gosh, that's so romantic. Like, he saw her, he knew she was the one, he, wrote a note, he's like confessing his love, and now look at them. Why can't life be like that? And guys go, okay, I'm going to make some notes. I'm going to do that. Okay. I'm going on a date with Amelia. She's fucking incredible. Amelia, I'm just going to let you know, I love you. You're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah. Do you know
it's
what?
too much.
I know. I actually saw a video about it. There's actually an guy influencer who does similar to what you do.
Oh, yeah.
And his line of thinking is women actually don't like it when you go all out, flowers and everything like that.
No,
you actually
don't.
need to leave them enough so they have something to chase. And obviously on the surface, women are like, no, that's terrible. Like, they need to be doing the most. But it's funny then when actually it does happen, you'll be like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, there is, okay.
I don't. I think you should be trying to do the most to try and impress in the early stages.
Of course, she has to say that. She has to say that.
I have to say
She's
that
a
for
woman.
girls.
She's, public facing.
But I do know that if you are, because it kind of touches into what we spoke about on the first step when we did this about are the most successful relationships when the man does the chasing. And as you said, it's that equal balance sort of thing between
reciprocation. Yeah. So I don't think guys shouldn't be going full all out, because from the get-go, for two reasons. One, she will underappreciate it if she felt that you guys haven't gotten to know each other and invested enough to warrant that level of effort and attention. But also, two, if he's only doing that because he thinks you're really attractive, what does that say about where he places his values? He should do that because he thinks you're a great person.
Yeah.
And he's only going to know that you're a great person as he dates you. So his investment in you should go up as he dates you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't start like...
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. If it starts here, I get it feels great for you as the woman. Validation, attention, you can show off to your friends. 100% I get that.
Yeah.
But the reality is that naturally we appreciate things less the easier they've come to us. So, we talked about last time, I say about sex, right? Guys hate it when I say this. Guys hate it when I say, ladies, it does not serve you if you're in a long-term relationship to sleep with them on the first date. Guys will be like, no, you should sleep with us on the first date. You should.
You liar.
You should. Because guys will 100% take that. 100%. They're going to take that every time.
Sure.
But the truth is, the one that he sees as a girlfriend, 9 times out of 10, it was a progression.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't get that easy from her. And that's what I'm saying. Like, generally speaking, guys will be like, yeah, I'll take sex on the first date. There is sometimes where, people hook up the first time they meet and it becomes a relationship. Sure, it can happen, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. That doesn't mean that it's the best approach. to see what I'm saying? It's true. It doesn't mean it's the best approach. But one thing I wanted to ask you, when you've been dating a guy and he's being vulnerable with you, is there such a thing for you that you've experienced that's too much?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so, no. I think I quite like it when... Well, no, okay, no. I've not had them be vulnerable with me, but I think I've had it where they've felt comfortable enough around me for them to be their complete and honest selves, where I think...
Okay.
No.
I just thought about, you're just farting all over the place.
That's what I thought. No, not quite that. But I think you've still got to put your best front forward when you're going on the first date. First
100%,
few dates.
100%.
Like, you're still putting, as we say, trying to impress the other person. Yeah. And I went on a first date and we went out for drinks and he was really early to the date. So he was like half an hour early or something. So we had 2 drinks before I got there. Which is fine. If you want to have one little drink to calm the nerves, that's fine. But he had 2 drinks before I got there. And then when we got there, he's like, let's do a shot. I was like, okay. But he got really drunk to the date where it got to the point where I felt like I was looking after him as if I was one of his mates.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he was like slurring drunk and stuff like that. And he couldn't really remember anything. And I was like, okay, I appreciate it that you felt comfortable enough where you wanted to like get really drunk with me and stuff like that. That's fine. That's fine. But I shouldn't have to be looking after you. on
sounds
the
like a
first
cope.
date.
That sounds like a cope on his part. He uses alcohol to feel comfortable.
Yeah. And then he actually didn't remember any of it. So he didn't text me until like 3:15 the next day. He's like, I don't remember anything. I've got the worst anxiety. Can you tell me I wasn't that bad? I was like,
Oh, damn. So the girl he met the first time.
first date.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then as I was on my way home, I obviously stopped off at the kebab shop, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I
Standard.
was like, I've got to try and save this night somehow.
100%.
So I'm there in the cab eating my mozzarella sticks and my kebab. And he bells me. And he starts going, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I'm like, I'm going home. He's like, are you actually though? Are you actually? And I said, yeah, I'm pulling up to my house now. He's like, okay. Almost doubting me. I was like, this is the first day and you're already questioning me going home. He's like, well, I'm going out. I'm like, okay, have fun sort of thing. He's like,
wow.
I'm going out to Battersea. And then the next day, when I spoke to him on the phone, he's like, you told me you're going out? I was like, no, I was literally in a cab home. I was like, so you're lying to me.
He's trying to make you feel jealous. He wanted you to join him. That's why.
And I'm like, okay, I don't need that on a first date. So
No, that was a lot.
He was quickly cut off.
Yeah. That sounds like a cope. Like if he's having 2 drinks before you come, and then the first thing you do get there is have shots, and it's like it sounds like
because I'd literally just come from work as well. I came straight from work to the date.
Yeah.
So and I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm here for a little short, starting the night off. But then he was then saying, let's order 2 drinks at a time. And I was there thinking,
that's a lot.
Bloody hell, we're getting plastered tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'll be honest, if a girl was like that with me on the first date, I'd be like, we're probably not a match.
Yeah.
I think it's just too much.
I think he was just more out for a sesh rather than a date.
Maybe that's actually what it was. He was just like, fuck it, join me for this
None
sesh.
of his mates wanted to take him out, so let's find someone new.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll look after me at the end of the night as well.
Maybe if she's nice, then I'm a keeper. Write her a love note, leave her on a gate. Do you have any male friends?
Yes. Quite a few, yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of guys experience like they're friends with a girl and stuff, and they're like, the girl's like, wow, you're gonna make some girls really happy someday.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never her. Why is that the case? Because I assume you think your male friends are great guys, right?
Yeah.
Are they any of them single?
Some of them are. But there's it's more complicated within my friendship group than that.
Okay.
So one friendship group, I'd say, my workplace, I'm so close with so many people at work. And it's one of those places, I think, if you are fortunate enough to have good work colleagues where you feel like you can trust in them, because they don't know the rest of your friends, the rest of your friendship groups, you can actually really open up with them.
Yeah, sure.
So in some circumstances, there's maybe 1 or 2 good-looking guys at work, but I now know them too well because I've like spoken about their dating histories. Like, right, we could never date. You know too much about me, I know too much about you.
I get that.
But then also there is the element we work together. So
yeah, that's fair.
So I think you don't want to jeopardize that because you've now suddenly developed a really open relationship with some of these guys where, for instance, like one of my work friends talking to me last night about he's going through a breakup at the moment, and he's then texting me like, because we speak about it at work, because I don't know any of his friends, so he feels like he can really be vulnerable with me and talk about it. So in that circumstance, I just feel
are you sure? That's like that's a lot, you know. If he's confiding in you, that's pretty significant.
Well, I'm sure he is confiding in other people as well. But it's funny, like with this particular guy, I feel like we've got all different within the office. Some of us have different roles and how we should go. So if he wants, because it's mainly a male office I work in, so if he wants to talk about his feelings, he'll come to me. If he wants to go to the gym, he'll go with him. If he wants to have a laugh and go to the pub, he'll go with him, sort of thing. So everyone has their little role to play to sort of support a friend.
That makes sense.
But then I guess in my home friendship group, my ex-boyfriend is still in it. So of course there are single guys in the group, but they would never even look at me because of my ex.
Yeah. Oh,
even though he's dating a new girl, he has been for the last 2-3 years, and she's lovely.
Yeah.
But they would never even cross that boundary.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about the girls? They're like that?
In what sense?
As in if there was like any of the girls in that group, I guess he's dating someone else. I would say, would they ever have gone with him, who's your ex?
No. Definitely not.
Yeah.
No, we're very fortunate in the sense that my home group, like my 2 best friends, we went to nursery together.
Oh.
And a lot of my friendship, my core friendship group, we went to primary school together. We've been friends from a very young age. So we've all grown up together. So we've all been friends for, like 15 years or something
Years.
like that. So it's one of those things that, no, you're my ride or die. You're not leaving my life. So
Yeah.
you are never crossing me.
Yeah.
And if it's one of those things, if we ever did have an argument, it'd be the next time we saw each other as if nothing had happened, sort of thing.
That's
like a
really
sort of a
good.
sibling sort of argument where you don't really apologize, just start getting along again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
If it does
100%.
need a conversation, obviously it will be had. But
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate in that aspect. But no, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have any of the. But funnily enough, I'm one of the very few single girls in my group. I think there's
Okay.
only 2 of us that are actually
Okay.
single. My other friend, she became single maybe 6 months ago. So she's now sort of starting to sort of go back in single dating, like going on dates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then most of them are in long-term relationships.
What do your single your friends in relationships, what do they say to you? What's their advice to you as you're dating in this landscape? What do they tend to say?
Well, some of them haven't got a clue, quite frankly. Like, they actually haven't got a clue, where I've had to sort of coach myself basically through this journey of being single in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, my friend Izzy, she's getting married this year.
Mm-hmm.
She's been with her long-term partner for 8 years now.
Wow.
She never even went on a date before him.
If you're loving this episode and these kinds of conversations, then I want to give you something. We recently launched the Kits Angels community. This is a sisterhood for women who are tired of what the dating scene has given them and are ready to take their love lives to the next level. It's a space for you as a woman to not be alone in your journey to love, where we learn, talk, and share our experiences as part of a strong sisterhood, with some leadership and guidance from yours truly, of course. Not to mention never before seen videos from me on how I've led dozens of women to meeting great men. And so as a thank you for watching this episode, I'm giving you a month's membership completely complimentary on me. Just click the Kits Angels link below, and when you join the group, message me the code phrase Angels Podcast and I will pay for your membership. Now back to the episode. Okay, yeah.
So she's useless to me when it comes
that's
to dating. She hasn't got a clue.
So true.
But then I've also got another friend. She's also engaged, and she has done the dating sort of thing. To be fair, I will go to her when I want advice from her, because she's just a very straight to the point, no, like, don't give me any bullshit sort of thing.
Yeah.
And she's done the dating, so she's knows where to put your energy and where not to put your energy, sort of thing. So she's quite good when I'm having a little panic. Help me, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Does he like me or not? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, Amelia, chill out. You're fine. It's been a day. Yeah, from him. Get rid of it.
Literally,
yeah. Fine. So she's a bit real. But then sometimes it's funny, I have gone to them and they've given me this advice, but my gut has told me, okay.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I'm not sure. And then my guts ended up proving to be right. And they're like, oh, I did not see that coming. I was like, well, I felt like that was coming.
Yeah. I think every woman needs a man in her life who's not trying to sleep with her to advise her on men.
Needs a man in her life.
Yeah, to help her, give her guidance on men.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
And I do have that. Yeah, I'd say I probably get most of that support from actually my work friends.
Yeah.
Than I did used to have a guy friend. Well, no, I still do have a guy friend, but we used to be like that. He then got into a relationship, and now we very rarely see him anymore, which is really unfortunate, because we used to have phone calls pretty much every day. Sure. Like, we used to see each other like once or twice a week. We're really good friends. Yeah. And then now he's in a relationship. So he was that person I lent on a lot.
Why do you think that changed?
Huh?
Why did that change?
I can't really speculate on the relationship because I still don't really know much about it.
I think she definitely would not have been comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if he was like still calling you every day.
Look, that's fine. If I have to take the back seat when he gets into a new relationship, that's fine. I'm no longer one of the significant girls in his life. Happy to take the back seat. Yeah. But he's also taking a back seat from his friends. So the boys no longer see him either.
Oh, is it a new relationship?
It's been about 3 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not within the first year, because
they live together. And it's just, there seems to be a lot that we don't understand. But yes, he was the guy that I would go to, but because I don't really have him at the forefront anymore. Yeah. I will, of course, sometimes go to my guy friends like, hey, can you just run me through this quickly? Yeah. Like, am I being weird here, or is he being weird? And they'll be like, okay. Yeah. But yeah, I would have to say, yeah, my friends at work are probably the ones actually, when it comes to relationships, they're probably the most reliable.
Fairs.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Let me ask you something.
Here we go.
Okay. A guy's talking about his own history, and he tells you about he slept with over 200-300 women. What does that make you think?
I mean, I'm wary of him.
Yeah.
I'm, of course, wary of him. But it's not the sense that, oh, it's disgusting, he slept with 200-300 women. It's just more like, right, why have you slept with that many women within this time frame? Have you been in a relationship? What's gone wrong in those relationships? If you have been in relationships in between,
Right.
Yeah, it's the bits in between, really. I don't really care about the number that men people you've slept with.
Yeah.
But it's more like, what have you been doing in between that to get to that number? Like, what are your intentions? Have you been quite sleazy, hanging out in bars every weekend, just trying to bed the next girl you see, sort of thing?
Sure.
Or have you actually tried to date these girls and it just goes wrong? But to reach that number, I don't think you are intentionally trying to date.
True.
So then I'm then thinking, right, why would I believe that you are trying to intentionally date me?
Very good point. What is more of a red flag to you? And let's say you're 27, right?
Yeah.
Let's say he's 32, right? He slept with 300 women, or he's only slept with 2 women?
Oh God.
One of them was a relationship, one of them was on one night stand.
I mean, you obviously want to go for the lower number, surely. But
I don't know, do you? You tell me.
No, I don't know. It's like that episode in Friends when they do it with Monica. And Rich has only slept with 2 people. Yeah.
So true.
I think it's funny because you obviously it doesn't answer your question. You want the balance in the sense that I don't know if a guy's just gone from relationship to relationship and he's only slept with 2 people, how do I know that you're okay being on your own, or are you actually codependent on someone sort of thing?
Good question.
I know it was my ex, actually, my very first ex. And I was always impressed, like, how the hell do you go from relationship to relationship? Like, he was never single, ever on his own. And it was actually only a few years ago, we bumped into each other in the pub and we had a really deep heart to heart. And I actually, like, obviously knew his family and stuff like that, but learned more about actually he feels like he needs someone there to help support because he had things going on in his family life and stuff like that. So it's like, right, okay. And my advice was to him, you need to go and be single now for a bit. Go be single. And to be fair, he did go off traveling and then came back and got a new girlfriend. But I was like, I'll allow you. You went traveling. You went on your own for like 2-3 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So you've had your time on your own. So that's what, but then I've also got a friend as well. She's just gone from relationship to relationship. And again, I think it's to do with her upbringing. So there's that element. But then as well, as I said before, if you've slept with 200-300 women, why have you got to that number? What are you trying to fulfill by reaching that number where you feel like you need to fill this void? I need to sleep with someone this week. Why can't you just sort of be at home maybe one weekend and just chill with the boys or chill on your own sort of thing?
There's 52 weekends in a week.
I also have a friend
in a year, rather.
She felt the need, like, I need to sleep with someone, so I need to sleep with someone. And it was basically to fulfill her confidence, basically. She wanted that confidence boost that she can bag a guy. But now she's obviously like grown and stuff like that. And she now no longer feels. I was like, so whenever I catch up with her, so what's new? Are you dating anyone? She's like, no, I don't really care anymore. Yeah. And it's such a relief for me to see that, because before I'd be thinking, why do you feel the need to sleep with these men? They're not giving you anything. A not treating you very well. And then she's like, it's a confidence boost.
But the thing is, I've heard that before as well. And I think it shouldn't, a man sleeping with you as a woman is not an achievement.
Yeah.
In the nicest way possible. Because a lot of guys will sleep with anything.
Yeah.
So if you make it easy, even if you don't make it easy, but like if you make it easy enough, like you will get a guy to sleep with you.
Yeah.
The confidence should come from how does he invest in you? The whole kind of sleeping casually, that's validation for the man. Not for you as a woman. And so I think a lot of women are like, oh yeah, it just makes me feel confident. But I get it. It makes them feel desired in that moment. But that desire isn't for them. It's for what they're giving.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you, because I would never, I would always try to sort of persuade you, don't waste your time with this. Like they're not giving you anything from this, like anything valuable from this.
Yeah.
But as with most things with this particular friend, just figure out on her own.
It's so true. Yeah.
So to answer your question, I didn't answer your question.
Yeah. Which one would you choose? Who would you
Which one I
choose?
choose? God.
I think for guys, it's really easy who they would choose.
Well, the one with smaller number.
Yeah, of
They're
course.
so easily threatened by numbers.
They're not threatened by it.
They are
Amelia.
threatened by
It's not
numbers.
threatened, no.
They are.
They're not.
My ex had the same body count as me, and he would degrade me for my body count.
So he shouldn't. I don't think it's okay to degrade anyone,
No.
but it's not intimidation or threatened by it, because guys will sleep with a girl casually.
Funny
who has
enough,
a
he
high
would
number.
use it. Oh, you've been experienced. You've done this and that. You're expecting things from me. Da la la. I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that can be a thing. Yeah, like I said,
You
that's
can
still
be
security.
but we had the same body count.
But I think, okay, so what I mean is this. If a guy meets a girl, right, and she's like, oh, I've slept with 300 guys.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Let's say no. Some guys still get that. Okay, let's say she slept with 80 guys.
Yep.
Okay. He'll go, okay, cool. We could have fun.
Yeah.
I know we can have fun.
Yeah.
She's just not going to be my wife.
To be fair, girls would probably think the same. Actually, yeah. To answer your question, I'd go with 2. Yeah, I think it would
Okay.
be. But I was just pointing out there are caveats to why it may not always be the best option or why not.
Yeah,
you know.
I hear that. That's true. That's true. But yeah, it's not that he's threatened. It just really puts her in his head, depending on what he's looking for. It just puts her, okay, cool, this is just a fun thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because, and here's the thing, like for a lot of guys, it's not always the number, it's what the number represents.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same. I have this
Same,
conversation with
that's
guys.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so, a lot of guys know that a lot of women will care about like his economic financial position.
Yeah.
And so guys will go, why is every girl like a gold digger? Why does she care about how much I make or my success, whatever? Why can't she just choose me for being a good person?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I say. It's not about the number. It's what the number represents. There's some women who are gold diggers for sure.
Yeah.
Right. But like, if you are earning good money, it already says to her that you're self-disciplined, that you're driven,
Yeah.
that you're ambitious. You have these certain qualities about you.
Yeah.
That's what, so it's actually what it represents.
Yeah. Well, it's the same
right?
example that I use when I say like I would be interested in a guy who went to the gym or was interested in fitness.
100%.
Not because you need to have a 12-pack and massive bulging arms.
Exactly.
I just want to know you understand my discipline, like why I want to be going. I focus then on healthy eating, like sort of maintaining a healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
It's not about how big are your arms, how much can you bench.
Exactly. And he'll be like, yeah, my PB is 110.
And I go, I don't care.
She's like, okay. But
that means nothing to me.
literally, like, I don't even know what that means. I don't bench.
I don't bench.
But for guys, it's what the number represents.
Yeah.
So like, for example, like I ask guys this, would you rather get into a relationship with a girl who slept with 30 guys, right? Or let's say she slept with 9 guys, but they've all been relationships, or the girl who slept with 6 guys, but 2 of them came from a threesome.
Do that last bit again. Hold on.
So you get into a relationship with a girl who slept with 9 guys,
Yes.
but they're all like relationships, or they're
Yeah.
like dating seriously.
Yeah.
Or the girl who slept with only 6 guys, but 2 of the guys was from a
Right.
threesome.
Okay.
Guys would choose the girl who's had 9 guys,
Relationships. Yeah.
right? Because it's not about the number, it's what the number represents.
Sure.
And what the number represents is a woman's relationship to her body and to sharing that,
Yeah.
right? Because when guys get into a relationship, they become very sexually territorial.
Yeah. Of
So
course.
it's in their, what they find very attractive is a woman. This is why I say about sleeping together on the first date as a general guideline, not to do it. What's attractive is a woman who doesn't share herself with a man because she's attracted to him, but she shares herself with a man because he's invested in her.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's making him go, cool. I know I can pour myself into you and know I can trust you, because
Yeah.
if and when we go through a hard time, which inevitably happens in relationships, if you're going out with your friends, I know you're not just going to jump on some random guy
Yeah.
because he hasn't invested in you the way I have.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that some guys can be insecure.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be like, oh, well, if I'm not the best sex you've ever had, maybe you'll never be satisfied.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Has that ever happened? Do you feel like, I'm going to ask you this question, fuck it. Do you feel like there's been one guy who has ruined it for the rest of them? Has he just been like, shit, like no one's come close to that?
No, I've not had
Okay.
that. Sorry. I know you were hoping for an exciting.
No, I wasn't. I think it's good.
think what it is when It may not be the intimacy.
Yep.
It may be just how things ended, and it's most likely whether they've ghosted me or they've just like dropped out, just completely gone.
Yeah.
And I then think I invest in the idea like, oh, I really miss them and the idea of them. But it's not actually that. It's more the fact like, no, I'm actually trying to chase them. It's that chase.
Get that validation.
It's the chasing rather than actually what it was intimately.
Yeah. Okay, I get that.
But no one's blown me out the park yet. No.
Well, guys, if you listen to this, you're like, hey, listen, maybe I can
I'm joking.
make my mark. You know how to find it. You know how to find it. Is there something else you want to talk about with this conversation today?
Let's have a look. What have we got?
I'll ask you one more thing.
I think we've kind of touched on it. I just basically want to build like a little package, like, right, what to do and not do when I'm going on a first date.
Talk to me.
What is it from? Yeah, we kind of touched on it really though. What are the key signs from a first date where you can actually say, like, no, this guy is not serious about long term, but we have kind of touched on it. If there's anything else to add really to it.
Okay. Here's a really good question you can ask him. Like, what do you see your life looking like in 2 years?
You asking me?
No, as in like, no, that's what you can ask him.
Yeah.
Like, what do you see your life looking like in 2 years?
It's quite a deep question for a first date.
Yeah, but like, where do you? But I don't think that's that deep. Like, if someone's like, okay, where do you see yourself? You'd be like, okay, well, this is what I'm doing career-wise.
Yeah, true.
This is what I'm doing, like having these kind of fun experiences or whatever it is.
So don't ask them what flavour crisps they like.
No, I don't think that's going to tell you how. I mean, if he says cheese and onion, lock him down. If he says prawn cocktail, kick him to the curb.
Are you joking me?
Yeah, no, not prawn cocktail. I'm not about it.
What about paprika?
Like Walker's paprika?
No, you get Lillet's, you know, when you go to Europe.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Or
I don't
sweet
think
chili.
I've tried that.
Sweet chili's cracking.
Sweet chili's good.
Okay,
Sweet chili's,
well,
yeah, I'll take that. We'll take that. Bring crisps next time. But yeah, I would say, but the reason I would say that is because, okay, usually guys will lead with their professional career or whatever, because they're like, oh, that's what she wants to hear.
Yeah.
And then you can ask, oh yeah, do you see yourself doing that with anyone? And you're like, oh, that's interesting.
Wait, doing...
Yeah, do you see yourself like,
oh, okay,
doing this with it, like sharing your life with anyone? Do you see yourself doing this with anyone? And then if he's just kind of like, no, yeah, I really would like to, you know, because 2 years is kind of, if you're like, okay, in 2 years' time, like I want to be with someone, right? If a guy's thinking about that, then you know he's probably more open to something serious.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's just like, oh yeah, like if I am doing it, cool, but then if I'm not, then that's fine too. Then it could be that he's not as intentional.
Okay, there's a question. Is it right? Let's try and phrase this right before I blood my mouth. Is there any truth in the notion that I think we might have touched on this last time, but
go for it.
Any truth in the notion that men have a sort of internal body clock where it's not necessarily the right person, wrong time. Yeah. It's just like I've got to the age of 30, and if you happen to be there, then I'm going to end up marrying you, rather than it being. You're at 22, they may have been the person for you, but like, no, I'm 22 years old. I'm not going to be wiping you off, locking you down for life sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay, timing is important, but it's not just whoever's there. So what I'll say is this. Timing is definitely important in terms of him being ready to settle down, right? You can't force him to be ready, right?
Yeah.
He has to get there on his own. Now, in terms of... because I get it. Sometimes, you know, we've seen it happen where a girl will be with a guy for 5-6 years. Then he's with a girl for 12 months and he's proposed.
Yeah.
She's like,
what
the
happened?
fuck?
It happened to my friend.
I put 6 years into this relationship.
It happened to my friend.
Yep.
And it was a very funny proposal because he posted it on Instagram. He was traveling away with her in Bali and he pulled out the ring out of an envelope.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He got down on one knee in their little... Anyways, I digress.
Interesting.
Anyways, but yeah. But they were dating for like 6 months and after like a 5-year relationship, and it's just...
Yeah. So timing's important in terms of when he's ready. But when a guy's looking for a wife, it's very different than when he's looking for a girlfriend.
Sure.
Criteria is different.
Okay.
So when a guy is ready to settle down and he knows the kind of wife he wants, the girl who he sees that, he's like, cool, you're her. We can go straight in. Because when a guy's just looking for a girlfriend, he's just looking for someone that he has great chemistry with and he has a fun time with, right? But when he's looking for a wife, he's asking himself, okay, what kind of qualities does what does she have that I think she's going to be a good mother, right? Is she the kind of woman who is going to play a certain role in my life, that she's going to do that? Is is she someone that I know I can trust implicitly with X, Y, and Z, right? So a lot of the time, and it's funny, I was having this conversation before you got here today. When it comes to choosing, because when a man's choosing for a wife, like he's choosing, I'm going to say it like this just to make a point. I want you to think about, it's kind of like he's choosing a role in a company. Like if you like create a company and you're looking for the CEO, you're not going to give it to your best friend just because you love her. Okay. You're going to choose the friend who has the requirements and has the qualities that you think is best for a CEO.
Yep.
It's exactly the same with guys with being a wife.
Question.
Go on.
Does this apply to men over the age of 35?
Yeah.
Who seem to never look. But when you find guys who are over the age of 35 and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not looking for anything serious, or like figuring out my dating goals and stuff, like looking for something short term, I'm like, will they actually ever be looking for a wife, realistically?
Okay. I'll tell you why that happens. Because, okay, as a woman, you have sexual abundance, right? As in you have plenty of options with guys. Literally, if I'm being honest, just by being a woman.
Slow.
Right? That's how it works, okay? Guys don't get that luxury. Guys only get an abundance of women, if they do, when they've developed a certain level of value within themselves in terms of who they are as a man, what they've achieved, how they present, competence, intelligence, experience, right? So the truth is, most guys never get to a position where they have options with women. Where they have like, oh, I have multiple women that I could date.
Yeah.
Right? Most guys never get there. I'm going to use this analogy, and it's a really old analogy, and anyone who's ever watched any kind of podcast content will recognize this. It's called the candy shop analogy. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay. So it's, so imagine there's a candy shop, right? And as a woman, you're let in there the moment you turn 18. Okay. So you get in there and, you're trying all the different sweets. You're trying the Haribo, you're trying the Laffy Taffy, the Sticky Toffee, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. But the guys can't get in until they reach the age of 35, right? They've saved up to 50 to 100K in their account, and they've been training in the gym for at least 3 years consistent.
Right. Okay.
Right. So at 18, you're let into the candy shop.
Yeah.
15 years later, early mid-30s, the guys who qualify, they're now into the candy shop.
Right.
And we already know those three metrics alone, 90% of men don't qualify.
Yeah.
Right? It's only like 5 or 10%. So the guys that get in there, they're going to go crazy. They're going to be like, I'm going to try this sweet. I'm going to try this one. I'm going to have this one. You've been in there for 10, 15 years. You're like, yo, chill. They're just sweets. Like, why are you losing your mind? Relax. It's cool. Yeah. And we're at the age where you just need to choose one.
Yeah.
But for him, it's like he's had to work his ass off to get to a point where he can try all these different sweets. And now that he's in here, he's going to try all the different sweets.
Yeah, fair.
But you've been in there for the past 10, 15 years. So you're like, I know what I like. I know what I'm looking for. That's exactly what it is when you get like guys who are like in their mid-30s and it seems like they're still figuring it out, because if they've never had a level of abundance or options, but now they're at a point where they do, because they've developed their career, they've developed themselves, they're now attractive to women.
Yeah.
They're like, well, they're like what you were like at 20.
Okay.
Where you're like, cool, I'm an adult, I can have these experiences.
So do you avoid them? Is that, or are they a red flag? Is that a red flag then?
If what?
In the sense that they've, no, that's fair and unfair, really, say red flag. Because if they've then spent this time obviously building themselves up, career, gym, whatever you say, confidence.
Yep.
But then they're then more open to the, right, now I'm ready to date and start dating. Of course, they've got all this great back catalogue of things that girls would find ideal, but then they're open to date. So then is it best to kind of avoid those kind of men? Because they're like, well, obviously they may not be ready to settle down, sort of thing.
I would say, I mean, ultimately, if you look for something serious and they express that they're not, then yeah, regardless of his age or where he's at.
Yeah, sure.
Like he's just a man who's just not looking for something serious.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you why it seems guys in that age are not looking for anything serious, because there's no nice way to put this.
God.
Men and women peak at different seasons in their life.
Oh, that's fact.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I say peak, I mean as in when they are the most attractive to the other sex.
Most attracted to?
Attractive. Yeah. So like most women will get the most amount of attention when they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
Not 30s or 40s or 50s.
No,
Unless she was like really unattractive when she was younger and then she had a massive glow up.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, then sure, you might get more attention then compared to then, but like you kind of missed out on a lot of potential when you're younger, right?
Yeah.
So most women are going to get way more attention when they're younger compared to older.
Of
For
course.
guys, it's flipped.
Yeah.
Guys get more, especially if it's a guy who's working on himself, developing himself as a person, as a man in his career. As he gets older, he's going to get more attention.
Yeah.
And then there's like a threshold. Because the thing is, it's not linear, it's a curve for guys. So what I mean is like, let's say there's like
Let's talk graphs.
Yeah, let's talk stats. Let's talk statistics. So like what I mean is this. It's kind of like it's kind of like building wealth.
Okay.
In a sense that it's not just straight linear. It's like, okay, you invest in this, you get a mortgage here, you become a landlord here. Like you kind of set layers, right? You kind of invest to set foundations. And then suddenly all the wealth starts coming in.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that with guys and attracting women. It's like, okay, you start working on your body, great. You start working on your fitness, great. You start working on your confidence, cool. You start working on your career, financial progression, all of that, right? And you're going to be doing that, all those things. You're not going to see that much improvement. And then at one point, you suddenly just start getting attention from women.
Yeah.
You suddenly become that guy that when you walk into a room, at least one or two women are going to fancy you.
Yeah.
Right? And so because guys will work so hard, they're not seeing any results. And then suddenly they get to that point. And most guys, if they work their ass off, just the majority of guys, they're not going to get to that point until they're in their mid-30s.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's when generally, I think guys in their mid-30s are like the most sought after, generally speaking. I think so, yeah. Because guys who are like, if he's like because he's still young enough to be like physically attractive.
Yeah.
But by that point, 9 times out of 10, he's kind of established in his career.
Sure, yeah.
Or he's establishing his career pretty securely at this point.
Yeah.
So he's pretty liquid. So he's in a position where he can like invite a woman into his life and provide some kind of great experiences, but he's also still young enough to kind of be physically attractive as well.
Sure.
So, because guys who are like 32, 33, 34, they'll be dating women who are like 22 to 35 if they wanted, even 45 if they really wanted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas women, it's like when you're in your 20s, you get attention from guys who are 20 and 40.
Yeah, you can date your son any dad.
Literally. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why it seems like guys at that age it seems like, oh, it's like you're 35, you haven't figured this out yet. It's because he didn't get into the candy shop until 2 years ago, darling.
Yeah,
You've been in there for 15 years.
Yeah, valid.
You know, one thing that I think I've asked I had this huge fitness influencer on. This was like 6 months ago. Huge following. And he's completely loved his wife, all of this stuff, but he was like, good looking guy, great shape, has 2 beautiful daughters. And he was saying about when he was younger, he was just like absolutely playing the field, like just going
a menace,
just an absolute savage, right? And one thing I asked him, I was like, can guys get to a point where they stop seeking like sexual variety without having it? And he was like, no, I don't think they can. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's kind of like, can girls be not tempted by like a guy who could provide a crazy lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. So like this athlete or this like, race car driver, Formula One driver, or like, these top % guys who like earn great money, really successful, where their lifestyle is very enticing for a lot of women. Because a lot of guys feel like, oh, well, if a girl's around those kind of guys and I'm not that kind of guy, I'm going to lose her to one of those men.
Yeah.
And I'll ask girls, like, can that be, unless you've tasted that, can you not desire that lifestyle without tasting it? And from what would you say?
I guess not then. Well,
that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
The girls are like, they always want to have that lifestyle, and unless they've tasted it themselves, they're like, they'll still always kind of want it.
Yeah. And
so I don't know if that's like a harsh reality, but yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on what you're prioritizing. Because I guess if you're looking for family, you're not just going to be the side chick to Chris Brown just because you can.
Touchy name.
Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, he got arrested now, didn't he?
Yeah, he's
He got arrested
locked up
now.
in wherever it is, HMP.
Yeah, it was like
Up in the
for
north.
something he did 10 years ago. I think.
No, 2023.
Oh really? Why has
Yeah.
that just happened now?
Because he finally got his visa to perform here in the UK.
Oh yeah. Then he got here and then they arrested him.
British police were like, right, we've got grounds to arrest you now, sweetheart. Up you come.
Damn.
I know, scandalous.
Who's
British
who's your
police.
celebrity crush?
Ooh. It's funny because I know what they look like and then I can never remember their names.
Oh really? Okay. They're an actor or
Yeah, who's Superman?
Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Faz.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I've then got weird crushes on people. Who have I got weird crushes on? I'm trying to think. I don't know. There's different standards of where
I want everyone. I want them all.
I want everybody. No, one of the things I love as well. So you got obviously like celebrity fit, normal fit, and work fit.
Oh, to break that category for me down.
Yeah,
Talk to me.
right. So your celebrities are obviously the people who are generically good looking. Obviously,
Yes.
everyone like Jake Gyllenhaal, Henry Cavill, people that everyone's going to find attractive.
Sure.
Then you've then got your normal people fit, where that's where your tastes get a bit more specific. Where right, I like brunette guys, or I like blonde girls, I like
Right.
petite girls, or I like whatever it is.
Yes.
But that's more defined by what a girl.
Her preference.
Exactly.
Yes.
But then there's my favorite one where
Go on.
is work fit, where you may find someone at work attractive and it's like, right, are they actually attractive or am I only attracted to them at work in a work environment where I see them day to day, I get their humor, but I don't really know their life outside of work sort of thing. I don't know what they're like on the weekends or anything like that.
Right.
How they are. Because
And of course, at work, you'll see them be competent in some ways. As
and then
well.
sometimes, like for instance, if you have to work in a small team,
yes,
you might get to know them on a different level, sort of thing. And it's the same as what I said before, where
Very true.
you have the option where you can really expose yourself at work because they don't know the rest of your life.
Yes, yeah, that's
so-
actually so true.
Yeah. So I've had it before, like he's really fit, but he might be work fit. So when I've then shown people who I don't wear, it's like, Amelia, what are you doing? Why do you fancy this man? He is not. I'm like, he's not.
But do you know what? I think if you find someone who you find is work fit, that's the guy you should go for.
We can't really date at work.
Well,
HR's going to have a big problem with that.
Do you know what's a shame though? Like I think it's from pre-2010, like 80% of married couples met at work.
Yeah.
But then obviously now there's this whole stigma about dating someone at work. And now, you know, we're wondering like, oh, but like why less more people single, less people getting married, all that stuff. And it's like, well, most people would meet at work because it would be completely normal that
We got a girlfriend now anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
fuck her, man. Take him. And that's what I'm saying.
But I can't be that girl.
I'm
Imagine
joking.
that.
I'm
He's like, I'm breaking
joking.
up with you because I've got with someone at work.
No.
Oh, I
no, I'm
can't be
just
that
joking.
girl. No, I just have to
Some girl
take it to the grave.
Some
My
girls,
love for him.
I've always loved you, my work husband.
Yeah.
But it happens a lot because the thing is as well, they'll be like, I know, I've seen and I know so many like women in very happy relationships, very content. Like you never see them posting about it because happy people just go live their lives.
Yeah, sure.
That's the truth, right? And they're like, oh, if I saw my boyfriend or now husband on a dating app, I actually would have swiped left.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was in an environment where she got to know him, she got to fall for who he is
Yeah.
as a person, got to see other sides of him you can't see on a first, second date or a dating
Well,
app.
that's the scary thing about dating apps. What if I swipe past my husband?
You probably have.
Probably.
You probably have, Amelia. Which is why, you know, when you
That's why I'm
said
single.
he's already out there, like he's just trying to get back into your life and you're just not letting him. But that's why I said to you, you know, when you were like, you went to get dates with that guy and to be fair, second date, you're like, my gut was telling me something.
Yeah.
Completely fair, right? But that's why I was like, don't look for that spark, man.
Yeah.
Or like what I'm trying to say is don't let that spark determine for you whether this is right or not. Because some flames are a slow burn.
I know. And
They're a slow burn.
I know.
You know? And the thing is, some people are amazing partners, but terrible daters. Right?
Yeah.
But some people are amazing daters, but terrible partners.
Because I had it before recently where I went on a date with a guy and he gave off like we really got on, like we yapped, like really got on, like talked about loads of things. But because he wasn't really flirting with me, I was then thinking, oh, okay, this guy doesn't fancy me. He obviously just sees it as a friendship kind of thing. So I just continued just sort of yapping along with it. So I occasionally like sort of like brushed my hand on his leg, whatever, like trying to be subtle and slow.
Love it.
And then even at the end of the day, or no, we went for food and then we went to a different bar. And I kind of think if you change location, that could be your opportunity to kind of like drop some game. Like whether he like pulls me in for a little kiss or like hold hands or whatever and stuff like that. He didn't do any of that. So that's when I was kind of thinking, okay, I'm getting friendship vibes here.
On the first day, you'd expect a guy to hold your hand.
Sometimes, yeah.
That's quick, way.
I've had it before where guys like, can I hold your hand? I'm like, okay.
Wow. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, carry on.
Or like, but sometimes it will just like naturally happen like that. Or like he'll be walking with his arm around me and it's just like, yeah, it will happen on a first date.
Yeah, I guess arm around you, yeah.
But
yeah,
then when we were saying goodbye, I kissed him on the cheek, saying like, goodbye, thanks for a fun night. Thinking like, there we go. Here's your opportunity. Nothing. So I thought, okay, right, this guy clearly doesn't fancy me. And then when I got home, he then texted me, he's like, obviously I do want to see you again. And I was like, where were the signs? Where were the signs? Like, we were just talking. Like, I could have just sat there and yapped for ages. We would talk about everything.
Because maybe he was just prioritizing getting to know who you were.
I know, but if you've kind of got to, you may not have any game, fine, but you kind of need to give off some indication to me at the first date. Like, I'm all for playing the long game if there is some sort of flirty initial attraction. Yeah. Because you can't just go off good chat sometimes at the end of the day, where you sometimes do need to feel like, oh, actually, no, I do want to flirt with this man. Like, I think that's part of the fun of doing first dates, where you do get to have that sort of like flirty like connection sort of thing. Like, oh, did he mean to touch me? Oh, like, is he going to put his arm?
I think that's fair. Like, I get that. I guess what I'm saying is that if I'm being honest, I'm baiting myself out here. If I go on like a first date with a girl, I never try and kiss her on the first date.
Really?
Unless I know that we're both just looking for something fun. Unless I know, if we know like, oh yeah, like, you know, we're kind of attracted to each other, but we know we're just kind of, you know, looking to have some fun. There's like, okay, we're going on a first date to make sure none of us are psychos and then we can do whatever. But if I'm dating intentionally, yeah, I won't try and kiss her on the first date, generally speaking.
Really?
Yeah, because she's so used to every guy trying to do that, especially if she's attractive.
Yeah, but then if you then take the example I've just given, well, I'm thinking, okay, well, he might not be that interested.
Yeah, but that's why he messaged you, right?
Huh?
But then he messaged you after, being like, I want to see you again.
Yeah, so but I was then thinking the entire time he wasn't that into me. So I've then, throughout the day, I've then changed my whole psyche towards this man. It's like, right, this guy doesn't fancy me. Let's just have a nice conversation.
Okay.
So then...
Are you going to see him again?
No.
Why?
Because I didn't fancy him by the end of the day because I'm like, okay, he's not into me.
Wait, but did you not fancy him just because you thought he didn't fancy you?
No, but I think it just didn't, it felt very comfortable immediately, but it almost felt like friends. So it wasn't like...
okay, Amelia, this is why you're single. Okay, let me tell you why. Okay? The foundation of a relationship is a good friendship.
And I agree.
I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any chemistry, but I'm like, you know how you said you felt comfortable?
Yeah.
That is the number one thing as a woman you should look for on a date. Because in the second date with the other guy, you felt uncomfortable and you're like, I need to get the fuck out.
Yeah, bit of a nightmare.
So I'm going to get out of there, guys. We're going to wrap it there for today.
Sure.
Part 3 pending. It's all right. Eventually, part 37,
hopefully
she'll be married.
Yeah.
I'll be sat here with her husband. Okay. But we appreciate you.
Thinking.
Thanks for coming back on.
Thank you.
We'd love to have you. If people want to find you and potentially take you out on a date and not kiss her on the first date, but make sure that she still knows that you're into her, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's Amelia Beltrao, but Amelia with an extra A on the end.
Awesome. Perfect. We appreciate you, Amelia.
Thanks
for coming on.
Me.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Give her a like, give her a follow, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next episode.